Okay.
You use the guitar to
This?
hold it down. Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2.
Wait, no.
Oh shit.
Stop. Record. Let me just turn off Bluetooth. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Nerio Academy podcast, and this is your host, King. We're going to dive into conversations, episode 1 with Kevin Padillo on Warrior Leadership. Today, we're going to talk about self-love and leadership. But before we go dive into the topic, why don't you, Kevin, introduce yourself to my lovely people? Give us 3 things about yourself that nobody knows.
Hey, 3 things about me. My name is Kevin, president of Warrior Leadership and visionary. 3 things about me is that I love eating food. When I'm stressed, I buy food.
Facts!
And second thing about me is that I love beautiful women.
Women are good. They're good to be around, you know?
Straight up. And the third thing is the biggest fear I have is having yellow teeth. That's it. There you go.
Damn. All right.
Good talk.
That's good talk, man. Good talk. All right. That's it, everyone. Have a good day. Anyway, thanks for that introduction, Kevin. Now, we're gonna talk about self-love and leadership. You know, you guys are gonna have 2 sides of the spectrum, I guess, when it comes to self-love and leadership. But you know, with leadership, so Kevin, you know, we wanna give the people that are listening some background of who you are. So how did you start Warrior Leadership? What was it all about?
Yeah, hey, self-love. You know, when I think about growing, when I started my company, Warrior Leadership, and self-love, you asked me why I started it, right?
Yeah, just why you started, you know, Warrior Leadership.
So why I started is something I'm passionate about, right? You know, when I was a kid, I really wanted love from other people. I wasn't able to give it to myself, right? And someone that I wanted my love from was my dad. But he was a leader. But he was also busy. And I started realizing, like, look, I want that same mentorship that he could have gave me, right? I went through a lot of pain and got a lot of approval from other men because I wanted their attention and love, where I could have given it to myself. But that's why I started Warrior Leadership, right? To give people that same kind of what I could have gotten when I was younger.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That love from a fatherly figure, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So, how is it doing now? Do you think? So before we dive into the topic, what are the people, you know, what can they expect from the next couple years, couple months from Warrior Leadership?
Next couple months, you could actually see a lot of things, especially with some new products in the horizon, new opportunities, new even opportunities for people to make money, right? And we haven't launched that part yet, but that's one of the things that I've been learning, and also just learning a lot about myself and how I can serve the most, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
serve the most. Perfect.
Yeah.
Have you thought about serving yourself?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, all right, that's good. So the way the podcast run, for people that are just tuning in, we wanna have it very quick, not quick, but you know, very straight to the point, very practical advices. So we have self-love and leadership. So with leadership, what do you think are the 3 most important things or principles that people should remember, or that they should read every morning, that can help them towards, you know, whatever they're trying to achieve and, you know, lead?
I think the biggest thing for me right now, if I woke up this morning, I think it would be, a lot of self-talk.
Self-talk? Okay.
Self-talk, that's like, and reading, but I think the biggest thing, I need to talk to myself in the morning.
How would that conversation with yourself go?
It would be interesting. It's like talking to a friend. Someone that I need to talk to myself like I'm talking to someone I really love. Like, hey, good morning.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kev? You had a good sleep?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Like,
people don't know that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's self-talk?
self-talk. So talking friendly to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, hey, how you doing? You did a really good job today. You know, you really helped some people. Maybe you did something. Maybe Kev, hey, you did something scary yesterday. I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And really like
be happy
like
for you.
championing myself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you did a good job. You look good today.
Yeah.
You look amazing today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just like, hey, that person really wants to meet you.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like just saying, like being my own ally.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, be your own fucking king, man. Don't wait for other people to put a crown on your head. Fucking put that shit on your head.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's cool because I do the same. When I don't even you can ask people. It's like this is what I always do when I was back in my parents' house. I look around, I look at the mirror. God damn, it's a good looking young man. You know, that's what I say to myself. So next is reading. So, what kind of books do you read and how long do you read? You know, do you have a specific style of reading or?
Books that I read right now. Yesterday I was reading a book called Dating Essentials for Men. So just talks about dating. And I know most of my mentors, they always do this. They always find time to read. And one of my mentors named Doug Vermeer, he always once said to read an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
And within 4 years, I can reach mastery of a thing. Because that's 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
Mastery is 10,000 hours. So that'd be 4 years of daily 1 hour reading, right? I don't read for an hour though. So I'm reading about half hour a day, 40 minutes at night, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10 minutes at night. But right now, what am I reading? I'm trying to read. My goal is to read one book at a time, not 10. Because if I'm reading 10, I used to do this all the time. One book I'm reading is a book that you actually gave me. It's
the Donald Trump.
the Trump one, the Donald Trump one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reading. It just puts me in the mindset of a billionaire. Because he's a billionaire. He talks about how he lives his life and how he orders food and how Donald Trump always negotiates when he's buying something. It could be a $10 coffee, or it could be a banana for $1, or it could be $100,000 deal.
Yeah.
He's always trying to negotiate because anything is negotiable. That's what he says. So
anything is negotiable. I like that. Okay. So we have that self-talk reading, and then do you have one more thing to add on?
Reading, goals, writing down my goals.
Writing down your goals, eh?
Yeah, what's important to me.
And you do that every day.
Yeah, every day.
Every day, eh?
Today, did I do that? Oh shit, that's something I need to do today. I need to write down my goals today.
Okay.
That's one.
All right. So that's coming in from you guys, from Kevin. So that's his 3 things of the day, and that is self-talk. You know, wake up in the morning, talk good about yourself, man. Like 3 things that you're fucking proud of, and read and write your goals. Now we're gonna dive into the topic of self-love and leadership, and you know this is gonna be an interesting conversation because I think for me self-love is it's something that not a lot of people understand or don't know how to do it. You know, it's kind of like a lost ingredient to say. What do you think? What's self-love to you, Kev?
Just being on my own side. Being on my side. Because I go through a lot of people in my life that are critical, right? Especially family. I live with my family, right? And they can get really critical. Like even this morning, I was just being criticized for my life choices. People are like, oh, you're not even making money. You can't even pay for your own meal. Like, I just get criticized like that, right? And it hurts. Like, I'll be honest, it hurts.
Of course. It's like a stab in the heart.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Well, like, self-love came, like, when I was walking home after I got into this argument with the family. I'm like, okay. I was aware that a part of me was still critical to myself. I was like, oh, wow. I was, like, being critical. But then I'm like, what? Do I need to? Like, can I have compassion right now? Can I just be okay with me right now? You know what I mean? And when it talks about self-love, like how it applies to leadership is that, look, when we're leading people, groups, discussions, there's going to be times where I'm going to get triggered.
Yeah.
Get pissed off, jealous, angry, sad or something. That's when self-love is. Like that always having that dialogue with myself at all times throughout the day. It applies. You know, like when I'm taking when I'm using the washroom, pooping, I can be using self-talk. Like,
Yeah.
hey, good job. Like,
Good job, you did it, Kevin.
Good job, right?
People need to wipe their shit on this, but you did it. You know?
Yeah, or when you're working in a team and you gotta set a boundary, right? Like, self-talk can be used like, okay, what's important to you right now? Do you want to stand up for yourself, Kevin? Or do you want to make this person know that you want him to do something differently?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you want him to stop? Like, that's when I start asking myself questions. Do you want this person to stop what he's doing to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, talking to me badly.
Yeah.
Do I want to? And then I'll ask yes or no. If I do, then I'm like, okay, what do you have to do then?
Mm-hmm.
What are the options, right?
Yeah.
Do you set a boundary? Do you punch him in the face? What, like, right?
Exactly. It's like sales, you know. Like, all right, we got options here. Kid. Which one do you want? You know. But I absolutely absolutely agree and understand that. My thing for self-love is this. So, it's kind of going back to your point of being okay with who you are right now, where you are right now, who you're with right now, you know, and just being aware of that and being like, you know what, I'm okay. I'm okay. That's fine. And just working on yourself to put yourself in a position so that in a couple months, in a couple years, you're in a position where you want. You might not like where you're at right now, but there's no need to be hard on yourself and say, you're a loser, king, you're not here, there, you're this and that, you know, blah, 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 blah. You could do so much of that, but I think you're going to waste your energy and time. If you do that, you're just going to waste your energy and time, you know, just thinking about the negative shit. And instead, just take that energy and read, exercise, do something else, right? And, you know, self-love.
What do you do for self-love?
A lot of things, man. So, I recently with self-love, I'm just starting to kind of fully grasp that concept. I had that earlier, like beginning of the year. I've learned to kind of just embrace myself. But what I do for self-love is, for me, I like to do what I want, right? I always do what I want, and it's kind of like, I do what I want without stepping on someone else, you know, without hurting anybody else. I try to live my life where I can do whatever I want, but not hurt anybody else, right? And I do that by, you know, doing business or doing something else. But if you're talking about daily habits and stuff like that, what I do is, you know, I write my journals. I love writing my journals. It keeps me track of who I am as a person. I like to set, also another thing is with people, I like to set boundaries like in the beginning, right? That way they understand who I am as a person, because I'm a very, like, you know, we both know that you and me, we have like strong character, right? And when it comes to that, you don't want to have the wrong side of that spectrum, because it doesn't look good, right? And so for me, because I'm still trying to control that.
What other side?
Like, we all have a side of like the anger, you know, that just volcano erupting. Right? Yeah, exactly. That warrior within. But you see, I was just telling Kevin, like, I would rather be a warrior in the garden than a warrior in the battlefield. You know, I'd rather be prepared for a fight than fight, right? But at the same time, you know, with self-love, it's another thing is it's understanding that everything starts with you. And everybody's been telling this, man. Like, and I don't know why people are not listening, but everybody really starts with yourself. Like, friendship. All right, let's start with friendship. If you want to have a good relationship with your friends, you have to be your best friend. You yourself, you need to best friend yourself. You need to be able to, like, go out by yourself. If you can go out by yourself, you'll be the best friend anybody has ever had.
I agree.
Because if you can go out by yourself, it means you're good on your own. You're a person that is just so confident that I don't need anybody. And if you don't need anything from anybody, you're in a position of, like, people will want you because all you do is give value. And I think that's what people with self-love has a lot of in common. Is if someone loves themselves, you'll see that, man, this guy is so giving. It's because his cup is overflowing. He can give so much, and he doesn't need anything. He doesn't need any of nobody's shit, but he just gives because he can. And I always want to be in that position, because I have mentors that are in that position, and it's just so empowering to see. And because, you know, when you're with people, you get to see the different sides. You get to see, like, how people live. You get to see patterns, right? And I've noticed that people at the top, people at the bottom, self-love of people who are at the top is, you know, kind of high. People who are in the down low, it's not that good.
Sometimes, not all of them.
Sometimes.
I've seen some people that are unhappy at the off. Right?
Of course, and it just depends too, because sometimes people who are up here, they became successful because of the wrong foundation, and now they're over here, they're still sad as shit, right? But again, there's people here in the down low who's very happy, and that's good, and they don't need anything else. You know, I know a friend who's very happy. He's homeless, but technically not homeless. He's just a house sitter. It's the oldest spot, but you know, he doesn't need a house. He just travels around the world. And that's his life, and I like that, you know. But that's the self-love conversation. Now, what do you think, Evan? Like, what do you want to add to the conversation when it comes to the, you know? So we have this conversation of self-love. We have what we talked about. Do you want to add anything on that layer? You know, so we've had this ingredients in this cake. Now we're just cooking it up before we put it in the oven. Do you have anything that you want to add into that conversation?
Yeah, for sure. I think self-love versus being selfless, like that's a huge wrestle. Self-love and battling with being like selfless.
Selfless?
So like there on one side there's being selfless, helping, giving, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then self-love, right? And I know that's really tough because in leadership, sometimes when we're leading groups of organizations, people's teams, that like, let's say I'm leading a whole group of people.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, look, I'm hungry right now. My needs, I'm hungry. But then at the same time, I need to bring my team to a special watering place to get water.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we've been walking for 10 miles down a desert, and I'm hungry and my team is thirsty. So my needs, I need to eat. And then my whole team, they need water.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance of where do I choose? Self-love of me filling my own needs, or me bringing my team to the water because they need to live, right? And I've always wrestled with that, trying to wrestle between the two. And it all,
why?
That's a really tough situation to do because like, okay, I'm gonna have to either eat or water.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the food is 10 miles down the road that way, or the water's 10 miles down that way.
Where did that wrestle come from? Like that selfless and self-love, like where did it begin?
Yeah, on this like kind of just understanding about self-love, right? Like, okay, when do I help people and when do I take for myself, right? That's the huge balance. Because
can I say something on that conversation?
Sure.
What my mentor told me is that put yourself first. Yourself is the first step, and then only help other people. When you can help yourself, put yourself in a position where you're good to go, then you can do whatever the fuck you want and you can help anyone. Because what we're trying to do is you and me are the same. We're trying to help other people. We're trying to help ourselves. But if you look at me, both our situation is like, man, we need help. You and me both need help. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to help other people. We're out here trying to help other people, but we can't even help ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of like started to sink in for me. No man, fuck everybody, fuck everyone else. I'm gonna help myself first. I'm gonna get myself, my foundations, everything set up first. It might take years, but I'm gonna be selfish. Because think about this. We're being selfish right now because we're not living to our fullest potential. And what that does is we're robbing people of our presence, of our help. Because I know we can help a lot of people, but right now we're not in a position to do that because we don't put ourselves in a position. So our goal as individual, as a successful people, is that we need to put ourselves in a position where we can succeed and build a foundation so we can help as much people as we can, right? So that's where I'm coming from with that self-love talk, is because, you know, don't get me wrong, I love helping people. Sometimes I help people and it costs me my own good, but I'm understanding and learning that life doesn't always work that way. You know, sometimes you really have to put yourself first. That's why in the airplanes, bro, put your mask first before you help anyone else. And that's the reason why they do that, is because if you try to help this person first, and you know, in that plane is only a split second before the oxygen is gone. If you put his mask and you're not in, you're dead. You help him, but you're dead. Would you rather have that? You help one person when you could have helped millions, but you decide, you know what, I'm gonna help this person first. So it's kind of like thinking about on a bigger scale, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I find that really cool because I've got to help myself. I don't know if I agree with that really. Like, there's a part where I'm challenged on that.
Of course.
Because I know, I think for me, it's my perspective is like, okay, how urgent is it? Like, let's say for example, we're in that
question.
How urgent?
Okay.
Right. Like, so, let's say if we don't get water, someone's gonna die in 5 minutes. Versus, okay, if I don't eat in 20 minutes, I'm gonna die. Right? So it's like, okay, 5 minutes, 20 minutes.
Let's use a real example instead of that, because that one is a bit superficial. Let's use a tangible, real example where you're like being stretched out. Where do you see yourself?
Like in life and business. Okay, like I can relate to someone, like someone in the audience listening, like a young entrepreneur. I would say one situation would be, okay, when is it time for me to either go to the club and help my friend who's getting into a fight, or work on a project, a business project that I needs to get out, right? So let's say you and I, we're working on a big proposal. We gotta get it out, we gotta working together to get this deal closed. But then all of a sudden, Nolan is calling us. Yo, man, I'm about to get into a fight, I'm about to get jumped. So there's the two balances, okay, what do we do, right? And do I say no to Nolan, or do I say no to the proposal that needs to get out in 2 minutes, that has a deadline in 2 minutes?
What's important to you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because at the end of the day, our time is very limited. Like, think about this, okay? So you inhale. Every time you're exhaling, your cells are dying. You're literally dying as a person. Millions of cells are dying. And then you inhale, that's life. And then you exhale, you're dying again. And there's only that space in between, and that's the time that you have to do whatever the fuck you want. Right? That time is very, very important. And if I was in the same situation as you, I have a value for me. It starts with my value, right? So my principles and my value. For me, value is that, again, I would rather be prepared for a fight than fight. So you'll never hear a call from me. I'm about to get into a fist fight, bro. Come help me out. You're not gonna hear that from me. You're gonna hear from me, hey man, I was in a fist fight, I won. Or hey man, I was in a fist fight, I'm in the hospital. That's it. That's the only phone call you're gonna get from me. Because my value is this. It's like, I'm not gonna put my people in danger. So you have to get clear of your value first and make sure that people in your circle is aligned with that values and principles, because we have standards, don't get me wrong, we have standards, and that's fine. People have different standards, but for me, it's values that matters, because standards is, you should always have a clean house. Yes, it's a standard, but for me, my value is that respect. You have to respect the house, and me respecting the house means it's got to be clean.
Right. And
so it doesn't matter if he's dirty, but I like to clean my area at least, and I can live with that for a little bit. But I realize now it's like, no man, like I want to have a clean house. So that's when I'm thinking like I need to move on. But going in your opposition, that's a question to yourself, because we might have a very different values and principles. My value, I would choose the business, because if you're my friend, why the fuck would you put yourself in that position? First of all, right? You're in a bar. If you're my friend, you should be smart enough at least to not put yourself in that position in the first place. And why are you looking for a fight? I mean, what are you trying to prove? Right? Again, only defend when you really have to. Not like, this guy just fucking stepped on my dignity. I gotta punch him in the face. Right?
That's different.
Yeah, exactly.
But if he was about to die,
of course.
If someone is about to die, that's different.
That's different.
But let's say he's fighting one-on-one. Like, dude, kid, sometimes if you're gonna get your ass kicked, bro, that needs to happen. I've got my ass kicked so many times, bro. Beat up so many times by people, dude. And sometimes I need to learn.
Yeah.
But like, if you're not dying, it's all good. I'm gonna go focus on my goal.
There you go.
Let's get this deal handled.
Exactly, man. Like, you're not dying, bro. You're dying? No. Okay. See you later. God damn it. Yeah. But yeah, I feel the same, bro. It's kind of like, why do we put ourselves in a position well, we sacrifice ourselves where people don't even think about us. And you gotta think about that. Is this person gonna do the same for me? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably the fuck not, bro. That's what I'm getting cheesed at, because I'm so fucking nice that I don't even think about that. But I'm just like, I gotta be nice to myself. You know, I gotta like, hey, be nice to me. You know, like, stop looking at everybody else and look at yourself, bro. You need help, right? I'm like, all right, okay, let's help me first, right? So, yeah, that's where the conversation of self-love is. But, you know, coming in, we're about to reach our time, and before this ends, man, like,
We got tons of people watching, bro.
oh damn, man,
On the feed.
that's good. Hopefully they're getting some value. But okay, so this is for people that are starting out. What is one tangible advice that you could give? Actually, I have two questions. Okay, let's go with the first one. What's the tangible advice that you give to a person who's just struggling between that conversation of self-love? Like, what's something that you can say, hey, if you try this tomorrow, you might be in a different position in the next couple months. And if you keep doing that.
I think this is an interesting thing. I always talk about this in one of our programs, the self-leadership program, is that I need to ask myself, what do I want? So powerful questions do that. Asking powerful questions has changed my own life. And it's not asking someone else for the answer. It's to ask myself, right?
Yeah.
What do I want? That's the first step. I always tell this to so many students that are like, yo, I'm in university, my parents want me to do this. First thing I always tell people when I'm coaching them is like, okay, what do you want? What do you want for your life? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
That's
what about
good.
you? What do you think? What would you do?
All right. So that's for Kevin, is ask yourself, what do you want? And that's really important, because I feel like it's true. A lot of people don't know what the fuck they want. And all you know, something tangible, just to add on, maybe take a Sunday, take a Sunday of your day and spend 5 hours. Just go to nature, bro. Just be with yourself. People can't be with themselves, man. Like, they just can't sit on their own. I don't know why, but people are so ADHD nowadays, and they're just always looking for something to do. But just sit down, be with yourself. Sit down in a park, watch people, have a notebook, and ask yourself, what do I really want? And then the answer could come now. The answer could come within months, weeks, years, bro. It depends, but as long if you haven't have an answer for that, then keep looking. For me, the number one tip that I would give is just make your bed, bro. Just make your bed every morning, every day. Make your goddamn bed. And I got it from a book, but it's also, I'm noticing the difference for me. It's because if you make your bed, it's just you treat it with respect, and if you treat that place you rest with respect, it's like, if I rest here, I'm gonna go outside. I feel like I'm a man of respect. People are just gonna respect me, because that's a value. That's one thing that I value for myself, is respect. Because I like to, I grew up with, the Manopo, like in Filipino culture, very respectful people, right? And yeah, just make your bed. So
make your bed. Why making your bed?
So making your bed is because it's the book Compound Effect. Right, you do something over like every single time, it's gonna become a habit. And if you make your bed, you start your day with excellence. You look at it, it's like fucking beautiful, right? And you go out and you build off that, right? So let's say you made your bed, and because that's the bed you're gonna sleep in, and that's doing shit for yourself, right? You know how oh man, like, I gotta make this. You know how like I gotta look good for this person. I gotta dress sharp for people. You gotta do this for that. Man, I'm gonna make my bed for me. So when I get home tonight, I'm gonna sleep in a good fucking bed. That's why I'm doing it, right?
Straight up.
Yeah, and then you build from that, right? Okay, now I made my bed. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna work out with being in the moment. I'm gonna focus on my body. I'm gonna notice the movement. I'm gonna see where I need to work on, right? I'm gonna meditate, right? But again, if you're starting out in this and you don't know where to start making your bed. Takes you like 3 minutes, but bro, people don't do this, man. There's people that don't do this, and it's very doable. It's very doable. Make your bed.
Make your bed.
Once you start that, do something else. You know.
There was like a general that said that, right? Or
Yeah, it was a general.
Navy guy.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
a graduation speech. He
Yeah,
said that.
exactly. Just make your goddamn bed, soldier.
Yeah.
But
Discipline. I make my bed every day. I need to do it, even though I don't want to do it. I know that if I do that one thing, I'll be disciplined in another thing in my life.
And you know what's crazy, bro? You do it over time. You do it for a year.
Yeah.
You just do it now. It's just not your body. Just do it. You wake up. You just make your bed like unconsciously.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Straight up.
Yeah, yeah. But
when I don't actually, that's a good point, because when I don't make my bed, sometimes I feel like trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, my self-esteem is low when I don't make my bed.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
So that's a good piece of feedback.
You gotta just be aware of yourself. But
yeah.
It starts with making your bed, motherfuckers. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We have more to come. Again, I want to thank Kevin for coming into the show. Thanks for his time. Again, thank you guys for your attention, for your time, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Mission Driven Life podcast. Sometimes King and I mastermind together, and we cross promote and cross interview each other on our own podcast. So check out Nerio Academy on Anchor. Find him on Google, Apple, Overcast, Breaker. Great place. Send him a review, and King and I will be giving you tons of value, and he has a big project coming up for you. So stay tuned. This is the Mission Driven Life podcast. Have a powerful day. Find us on Google, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast. Leave a review for me. Tell me what you think. Have a powerful day. Bye. What the fuck? Wasn't even recording,
dog. Goddamn. Fuck. Well, that's shit.
Seriously, dude? So no worries.
Oh, we got who's there? Yeah, right now, but there's no need to be.
I'm in university. My parents want me to do this. First thing I always tell people, right?
Yeah, and then you build from that. It's very doable. So you do it for a year. Yeah. You just do it now. You just not your body. Just do it. You wake up. You just make your bed like unconsciously. It's weird.
Thanks for checking us out, everyone. Follow Nerio Academy. The man's social king right here.
Hello.
All right. Later.